The K-pop world was thrown into absolute chaos yesterday when Jin, BTS's eldest member, arrived at Mexico City's airport dangerously late on a private jet, having departed from an undisclosed location hours behind schedule, due to circumstances that remain frustratingly vague despite the massive disruption his delayed arrival caused to the carefully coordinated logistics of a major stadium concert. The footage captured by fans and paparazzi stationed at the airport shows Jin emerging from his private aircraft looking visibly stressed and exhausted, immediately being rushed into waiting vehicles by security and management personnel, whose body language communicated urgent crisis mode as they worked to get him from the airport to the concert venue as quickly as humanly possible. The fact that Jin chose or was forced to use private jet rather than traveling with other members who had arrived the previous day suggests either scheduling conflict that made group travel impossible, or some kind of emergency or complication that required him to depart separately, and that ultimately caused the significant delay that has now become subject of intense speculation and concern among ARMY worldwide. Why would Jin travel separately from other BTS members, and what circumstances could cause someone as reliably professional and schedule-conscious as him to arrive so late that the entire concert production was thrown into potential jeopardy? According to various sources close to BTS and their management, Jin's separate travel and delayed arrival were apparently connected to some kind of personal or professional obligation that prevented him from traveling with the other members on their scheduled group flight to Mexico, though the specific nature of this conflict has not been officially disclosed beyond vague references to unavoidable circumstances that required him to remain behind and depart later. The decision to use a private jet for his late arrival suggests both the urgency of getting him to Mexico despite the delay, and the financial resources that BTS and their management can deploy when necessary to solve logistical problems, though even private aviation could not completely compensate for whatever caused the initial delay that made his late arrival necessary. The stress visible on Jin's face in airport footage, and the rushed nature of his transfer from plane to vehicle suggests he was acutely aware of the pressure and anxiety his late arrival was causing for his bandmates, staff, and fans. The detail that has ARMY simultaneously terrified and relieved is that multiple sources confirm Jin's late arrival meant he had less than 3 hours between landing in Mexico City and the scheduled concert start time, with no opportunity for proper rest, soundcheck, or the usual pre-performance preparation and ritual that artists rely on to deliver their best work, raising serious questions about whether he should have been expected to perform at all under such physically and mentally demanding circumstances. The fact that Jin apparently insisted on performing despite arriving exhausted from travel and having no time to properly prepare demonstrates either admirable dedication to fans who had traveled from across Latin America to see BTS perform or concerning pressure and expectation that prevented him from making the healthier choice to sit out the show and allow himself proper rest and adjustment time. The footage from the concert itself shows Jin delivering a strong performance despite the circumstances, though close observers note moments where he appears particularly fatigued or where his usual precision and energy seems slightly diminished, understandable given that he was performing on adrenaline and professional commitment rather than on proper rest and preparation. The Mexico City airport arrival scene was apparently chaotic from the moment Jin's private jet touched down, with airport staff having been notified in advance about the late high-profile arrival, and the need for expedited processing through customs and immigration to minimize delay in getting him to the concert venue. The coordination required to facilitate his rapid movement through what would normally be time-consuming airport procedures apparently involved cooperation from Mexican authorities who recognized the significance of the concert and the number of fans whose experience depended on Jin's timely arrival. Though even with maximum facilitation, the unavoidable minimum processing time combined with travel from airport to venue meant he was cutting it dangerously close to the concert start time. The private jet that brought Jin to Mexico was apparently a long-range aircraft capable of non-stop flight from wherever his departure point was, though the specific origin of the flight has been subject to speculation with various theories about whether he was traveling from Korea, from another location in Asia, from the United States, or from some other place entirely. The lack of clarity about his departure location has fed into broader mystery about what kept him behind while other members traveled to Mexico on schedule, with fans and media engaging in extensive detective work trying to piece together his movements and activities in the days leading up to the Mexico concert. The other BTS members' awareness of Jin's delayed arrival and their stress about the situation was apparently significant in the hours leading up to the concert, with backstage sources describing anxious atmosphere as everyone waited for confirmation that Jin's plane had landed, and that he was en route to the venue. The decision about whether to delay the concert start time to ensure Jin could arrive and have at least minimal preparation versus starting on schedule, and potentially having to perform without him or with reduced participation apparently involved tense discussions between management, production team, and the members themselves about what would be best for both the show quality and for Jin's well-being. The fans waiting at the venue during the period of uncertainty about whether Jin would arrive in time reportedly experienced significant anxiety, with social media posts from attendees describing the tense atmosphere as rumors circulated about his delayed arrival, and as people worried that they might not see the complete BTS lineup they had paid and traveled to see. The relief that swept through the stadium when it was finally confirmed that Jin had arrived at the venue apparently created an emotional atmosphere even before the concert began, with fans feeling invested in the behind-the-scenes drama and grateful for Jin's commitment to making it to perform despite the challenging circumstances. Jin's arrival at the concert venue with minimal time to spare was apparently followed by the fastest possible preparation process, with him being rushed through basic necessities while skipping or abbreviating many elements of the typical pre-show routine that performers rely on to get into proper mental and physical state for demanding performance. The fact that he had no opportunity for soundcheck or for running through any problematic sections of choreography or staging meant he would essentially be performing the entire show on muscle memory and professional instinct without the usual chance to identify and address any issues specific to that venue's acoustics or stage setup. The concert performance itself, by all accounts including footage widely shared on social media, saw Jin delivering strong professional showing despite the adverse circumstances of his rushed arrival and lack of preparation, though those who know his typical performance style well have noted subtle signs of the fatigue and stress he must have been managing throughout the show. The fact that he was able to perform at all, let alone at near his usual standard, speaks to his professionalism and to the support of his fellow members who apparently made subtle adjustments to their own performance to accommodate and support him when needed. The post-concert reaction from both Jin and from the other BTS members has been somewhat muted, with no detailed public statements about what caused the delayed arrival, or how the experience of performing under such rushed and stressful circumstances affected Jin or the group overall. The decision to maintain relative silence about the situation rather than providing fans with full explanation suggests either that the circumstances were personal and not appropriate for public discussion, or that there are professional or contractual reasons to avoid detailed disclosure about scheduling conflicts and travel complications. The broader implications for BTS's future touring and scheduling practices following this incident have been subject to discussion, with questions raised about whether contingency planning and buffer time built into travel schedules should be increased to prevent similar last-minute panics, even when unexpected delays or conflicts occur. The fact that everything worked out and Jin made it in time to perform should not obscure the reality that the margin for error was dangerously thin, and that small additional complications could have resulted in missed performance or significantly delayed show that would have affected thousands of fans and caused enormous professional and financial consequences. In conclusion, Jin's shocking late arrival to Mexico City on a private jet just hours before BTS's scheduled concert, caused by mysterious circumstances that forced him to travel separately from other members and that created intense stress and uncertainty about whether he would make it in time to perform, has exposed the precarious logistical balancing act that global touring requires